These essays date from 1985 to 2008. Since you make your living as an actor and as a playwright, what inspires you to sit down and write an essay?
Well, it's only happened, a dozen times or so.
So this represents all of your essay output so far?
Except for, maybe some very short scraps that are not worth preserving. I suppose it's just occasionally I feel that I actually understand something, and I've reached an age where I realize that, I don't know, I'm old enough to have the right to an opinion just as much as anybody else, and I'm thinking things that are totally obvious, but I look around and nobody else actually has written them down, so I do it.
And then somebody publishes it. You've divided the book into two parts, reality and dream world. How do you define these two concepts?
Well, most of the pieces are about political things, but...
well, I'm not always sure whether that's reality or dream world.
Well, I mean, I do write quite a bit about political fantasies, but I spend most of my time, writing rather poetic plays. That's not meant as a compliment. That's just a word that defines them, as opposed to sort of brutally realistic plays. And, I live in a fantasy world most of the time. I mean, as you say, I made a living as an actor, playing characters in other people's fantasies, and then I write my own fantasies. I spend most of my time writing plays, really.
But it seems to me that the issues you write about in the reality essays are also the questions at the heart of many of your plays. How can we, as intelligent people, justify the terrible injustices and inequalities we see in the world?
Well, all of that does come into my plays, inevitably, just the way if you go to sleep at night and dream, the things that you've seen during the day come into the dreams.
Well, add to that quandary what we can do about them without giving up our privileges as citizens of the developed world.
Well, we will have to give up our privileges.
We will.
I mean, we can't, if we're seriously concerned about oppressing other people, we probably will have to give up our privileges.
In the reality section, you include an essay from 1985 called Morality. Was that your first essay?
That was the first, yes.
It was originally published as an appendix to the play Ant, Dan, and Lemon, which has been seen by many people as a defense of Nazism. Do you see morality as the central theme of the play?
Well, I don't know if too many people saw the play as a defense of Nazism. I suppose if you don't understand it, you would.
Well, I mean, anybody who knows you would know that you're not defending Nazism, but perhaps when we talk about matters of morality, we're not always clear as to what we can understand and what we can't understand.
It's certainly in a play, it is very interesting to play with the audience a bit and see how far you can get them to see within themselves the way in which people can be lured into thinking that leads to evil behavior.
There's a more recent essay called The Quest for Superiority, which covers some of the same ground. How can a well-off person justify the fact that his comfortable life is made possible by the sweat and suffering of most of the world's population? How has your thinking changed between the writing of those two essays, or has it changed?
Well, it has changed, really, because I think in 25 years ago or whatever, I was just beginning to see my own role and the role of the people I know and my friends and the people I grew up with in the world. When I was in my 30s, I still thought there was plenty of time to think in a leisurely and even amusing way about these subjects. When I got into my 40s, somehow I was able to see that I was the beneficiary of a status quo and a system that employed violence and torture to keep the poor of the world in line, and that I was not only integrally involved, but that the very things that were fun in my life were often privileges that had been won at the cost of other people's lives. So, I have changed.